Hello, coaches, and welcome to this edition of Give and Go Live. My name is David Newberry, and I'm joined, as always, by my colleague, Ian Barker. Hello, Ian.
Hello, David, and hello, coaches.
Ian, in this series today, we're going to be looking at an activity called All Up, All Back. It's a small-sided game. And as always, we'll look at the setup first and then talk about the methodology as it relates to the particular sequence. So in this first diagram, we see that we have a red team and a blue team. The red team are attacking in this direction, the blue team in the opposite direction. And the objective of the game is for the red team to attack and get all of their players into the opponent's half. So to get all of the players on your team into the attacking half of the field. And depending on the conditions, the team in blue to have all of their players in the defensive end. So essentially, as the game goes back and forth, the objective for both teams is to have their players in the same half of the field. So let's talk about the first sequence methods, and we'll talk about some of the additional rules and restrictions we can add as we go through, Ian.
Yeah, so the first issue here to consider for all of us as coaches is, what is this? It's a small-sided game. So whether you believe in the play, practice, play methodology, or you have players that don't respond so well to more of the traditional training activities, you're letting them play a small-sided game. Tons of implication here, though. So if the red team starts with the ball down here, do the blue team drop off into their defensive shell and let the red team come on? That would be a potential tactic. Of course, if the red team starts here, the blue team could all step up and put high pressure on in the top half of the field, because should they win the ball, they've now met the condition of being in the half to score. So there's a couple of implications for how you defend here. And then one of the great implications for the offensive side of things, if you're a coach who, when your team is attacking here in red, your midfielders are behind them and your backs are sitting down by your goalkeeper, which is a very common thing in youth soccer, this is a great way to encourage everybody to step up, because you can't score until they have. And of course, the other little byproduct of this, not only from the offensive and defensive tactic side of things, is great opportunity for conditioning, physical conditioning, without making them run around the field. The conditioning comes from the conditions of the game.
Yeah, and as we go into the second sequence here, we see that the red team have just scored, and now the blue team are in possession, they're attacking. Now, in this diagram, we've shown it so with the rule that the red team must back off into their own half of the field, similar to the 4v4 conditions that U8 players play anyway. So this is a consistent rule with the 4v4 game in the United States, but it also gives, as we see here, the blue team a little bit more time to bring the ball forward and to get themselves organized in order to break down the opponent's defense. Equally, for the red team, it gives them the opportunity to now organize as a defensive unit to prevent the blue team from scoring. So lots of things going on in a very simple game to administer, but a real fun game for the kids, Ian.
Yeah, and this is where one of these options for you as the coach, I think, comes in really powerfully. So from the point of view of the red team, you're giving the red team an opportunity to organize defensively, so they can discuss about, what shape they're in. In this case, it looks like a diamond. You're also making sure that when they do win it, they're gonna have to move forward. So by requiring them to drop off, you've achieved a couple of really positive things. Not only defensively, but when they win it, you're going to get that support forward, and you're going to get that physical conditioning. From the blue team's perspective, one of the things you can do with this condition, given that I can't be pressured right away, is that you're going to get one of your players high potentially, and you're going to get the rest of the team dispersing, because this player cannot be dispossessed while he or she is in their own half. So it does give that offensive team an opportunity to get some shape and build up. And so you can already see for a 4v4 game, this has a more mature dispersal of the 8 players than a typical U8, U10 game where they tend to be 7 kids hovering around the ball. So however you choose to impose or put in some conditions, you can really impact the different opportunities for both teams.
And as we move to our final sequence, we now see the blue team having collected the ball from the end line. And to help the players certainly transition, we've put balls in strategic positions in the corners of the fields and close to the goal, so they can restart quite quickly. If they can certainly restart and the red team are still in transition and you've imposed the rule that they must be in their half of the field in order to win the ball, then you may be able to catch a couple of players lazy walking back, as we've shown in this diagram with the player that is highlighted. And so what the blue team have done here is they've dribbled the ball out, they've combined to pass and then eventually score. Now, given that the red team attacker is still in the attacking half of the field and did not make it back over the halfway line to defend, that goal can be worth 2 points as opposed to 1. So a way to incentivize the blue team to transition quickly, and of course a reason for the red team to get back and defend in.
Yeah, so again, one of these great opportunities for you as the coach to manipulate some of basically the game rules. So the 4 blues are going to have to get in the half to score. That's your game condition. Fantastic. If the game condition is you want all 4 reds to recover, which would be a good game condition, and one of them fails, you can penalize the reds by making that goal count double. So exactly as David has presented it here. You could, on the other hand, say that you must always leave 1 player in the half on purpose. So when you do that, you now have a 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 3. So that's great. So you've got a 4 versus 3. You should get some goal scoring. And if the reds can win it, or the reds can re-enter a ball quickly, they've got immediate length to transition to. And once they've got it to this player, the challenge now is for him or her to hold possession while their buddies come and join them. So you can make the requirement that you must stay 1.5, or you can make the requirement they must all try to recover. And depending on how you share out the point values, you can get different responses from the team. And one of those responses you might want to be doing is more immediate transition through a high target. And so in this case, you would leave them there as opposed to require them to come back.
Well, Ian, that's a really fun activity. And for those coaches that are interested in getting a whole plethora of activities that they can use with their training, whatever age group you work with, we have a series of manuals that are available using the link on the screen. So thanks, Ian, and thanks, coaches, for joining us on this edition of Give and Go Live.